I have the super amazing pleasure of being here today with Cortney Winn, the author of Vesselless. Hi, Cortney.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I am beyond excited. I am like shaking. Your book destroyed me. I cried. I laughed. I giggled like a crazy girl while I was reading, and I shared my office with my husband, and he was like playing games as I was like reading, and I was like in my headphones, and he's like, "You are a lot right now. Like, what is happening?" I'm like, "You just do not understand." And I would read him like little sections of it, and the parts that would like make me laugh, like when you made the smut joke when Zara and Day were in the club, and I was just like, you're lost to the world. I was like, this is epic.
Well, thank you for reading it. Like I said, I'm really excited to be here and excited that you enjoyed it. So,
Thank you. If you wanted to describe your book to new readers without any spoilers, quick little like send it. How would you describe it?
um, spicy Casper, adult version of Casper for all the girls that loved the moment in Casper when she's like, "Can I keep you?" That's this book. So,
Yes. Oh my gosh, wait, I just pictured when she went to give him like kiss him and he like disappears and like her and oh yes, that's perfect. But definitely with like a whole lot of adult, like there's definitely like dark moments and triggers and but it's like so beautiful. Like the sadness is so overcome by like the beauty of all the emotions that they go through. Like I know that there's so much dark, but and Nazara's battling the darkness within her, but then there's so much light that comes through, like in the moments, like when they're joking, like in the glow car, and like how she would focus on a smile, and he would find like reasons to want to, like begging for reasons to like exist, and I just, oh, it's beautiful.
thank
With incorporating those moments of light, how did you find light? When did you have moments where you struggled or you wanted to stop or you had to like walk away when you were writing?
like writing Vesselless.
Hmm.
Um, Actually, no. More so in book two. That was a good way to put how book two was. Um, but writing Vesselless was like my passion project. It was before I had agents or a book deal. It was even before I started my Instagram account, and it was just playing. I mean, of course, I wanted to publish one day, and um, but writing Vesselless was just I would wake up in the mornings before my family got out of bed, and that was my um just hobby, so to speak, something that I was working on, and I had a lot of fun with it. Book two, that it was so different. I've never written a book two in a series. Vesselless was the second book I've ever attempted at writing. And so Merciless, it came with a lot of I told my husband, I was like, this is my mountain. Because I felt the pressure going in, uh, connecting plot lines and everything like that. So what you described is more how I felt with book two of like, okay, can I really do this? And it ended up being my favorite book I've ever written is book two. So
Wow. Okay. Well, if that's your mountain, I'm like scared because holy heck, there were so many hills, there was so many ups and downs. I could not keep up, and you had me guessing on what was gonna happen. Like when Nazara would talk about the gold spirit and everything that came, like I kept thinking it was low. Spoilers. I kept thinking it was low, and then I'm not gonna ruin the end, but when it happened, I was like rocking, like did this really just happen? And I kept like waiting for like maybe maybe it really didn't happen. Maybe, like, oh, I am so ready for Merciless. You took no mercy on me.
I remember as I was writing Vesselless, I kept thinking, I'm like, is this okay to write? Because I haven't read books with certain aspects to like little plot lines. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what it was, but I've had a lot of people say like it felt different and they
Yes.
didn't know where it was going at some points, like as in they kept guessing. And so I'm glad it kept you on your toes and kept you guessing.
No, he did so good. With are you talking about like the punishments and everything, or is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like I guess balancing that dark trigger heavy content, because on one side, if you like play it down to where it doesn't feel quite so heavy, it lessens um like it undermines Nazara's anger and the complexity of what she's feeling, because if her relationship with her father isn't hard to, if you don't quite understand how hard or deep it is, then when she's so angry, you don't quite connect with it because you're like, well, why?
Mhm.
Um, and so it was a balance, and I faced that balance again with a different elements in book two, and I found myself having to scale back the amount of dark, heavy things in book two, because I got to a point where I was like, okay, this is too heavy, and I had to move it back. So yeah, it was balancing that, and I've had a lot of people say that it was dark, but they liked it as far as it served the plot and it served a purpose for being there.
No, I think that was really good because it also showed like her inner strength. It showed her determination, and then I feel like it definitely furthered the plot, and made it more poignant when she was saying today, like, no, like it's my father, like I can't do it, like I can't kill him, and he's struggling with why I thought Day was struggling with why she couldn't do it because he was hurting her and she loved him. And it was gorgeous when she was talking about how her father would read to her and trying to remember the good parts when he was a good father to her, and then letting that love win. She wasn't letting the darkness win. And to me, I was paralleling it to like her internal fight with her darkness and not letting that win. Like she wasn't letting her relationship with her father get destroyed by his possession. And I, s- I saw a lot of mirror moments, and I think that it was so good.
Thank you.
I was so intrigued. How did you come up with your fight scenes? Because I ended up wanting to like I was like, how do you roundhouse kick? Like this is so badass. And then like her throwing the daggers and like the magic and then like them going in, and then when she would like shove it in his elbow and she like went up, I was like, oh my god. Or like her holding her arms. I'm like, where did she get this from? Where did you find your inspiration?
Well, it's kind of a mix. Like originally, the whole duel system, like and the games, stemmed from I wanted a cool magic system, and I needed a place to show it, and show what it did, and the kingdom that she lives in is kind of violent, and they like showy things, and they like, um, yeah, like lights and sparkles and da 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 da. Um, so that was the first reason, like I pulled the fight scenes in. And then as far as inspiration, maybe I'll have to send you the song after. But I had a song in my head where like it had like the pacing or the momentum and like the feel of what I wanted the fight scenes to feel like. And
Mhm.
then so I would listen to that repeatedly, and in my head I would kind of start to build what I wanted. And then it came down to a matter of like, where can she get hit or stabbed where she won't die? That was kind of um how
Skillful.
yeah, it was like those three things for like, how can I show the magic system? How can I make it feel like upbeat and this style, and then she has to live through however much of it. So
It's brutal. I was so intrigued when I was reading it, and I was thinking of how you were describing the audience and everything. I kept picturing like gladiator style, but inside of like a medieval castle. Um, and then instead of all the all the swords and stuff, it was just daggers. But then in my mind, I was like, "There's magic." So when I would like read about the spirits and like the colors and like the gray or the brown and stuff, to me it was like in Harry Potter with like the sparks flying and the colors, and it's just you because you were so descriptive, like you were so detailed, like my mind was just lost. It was so good.
Thank you. The smoke originally came because if I didn't have some form of way to show that they were using magic, it would have just looked like they're just throwing it and not using any magic. And so that's where the smoke came in, and the color of the spirits and that kind of thing. So
Yeah. I was gonna say even the even the glow cars, I was thinking of Fast and the Furious. It was like Tokyo Drift when he was driving her to the club. I was like, let's go. This is so fun.
oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. I wanted to do a mashup and try to make like a world where they coexist, swords and cars and and technology. And so yeah.
Well, I guess I feel like because we're all over the place because I'm so excited and I'm just like loving it. I was gonna say like for the people that haven't read it and want to be, or they want to read it and they're curious on like what exactly the magic system is or like how it flows. Do you want to explain what vessels are or
Um,
how they get their power, where they get their power from?
yeah. So Vessel, I've had a lot of people ask me about the name because the name of the book is different. And it came from like I've read like older books where it talks about like when like a deity sends someone to do something for them, they are a vessel of their power, so to speak.
Mhm.
Like their power like channels through the vessel. And
Okay.
so that's like third on the list of what vessel can mean. So when I was trying to name these rings, that just stuck because it's a conduit of how power can like flow through you. So that's how I got the name vessel. Anyways, there's these rings, and the ring allows you to like momentarily perceive the spirit world, and you can bond with a ghost spirit, and they can give you power. So like when you bond, you both have this power to move objects, and like you can have a special ability with it. So that is
The mark.
yeah, the mark. Uh-huh. Um so yeah, I wanted to do a little spin on a traditional magic system. I also wanted a ghost MMC, and so bringing those two elements together just kind of worked perfect for that, how it worked. So
I'm trying to not read. So when you reveal um Nazara's origin, or is that a good way to her origin story? Um, how how did you struggle with incorporating that versus like him being being a death walker and then having the other people with their abilities and being able to like bond with souls, and like how are you setting her up for that?
like I'm not quite sure what you're
So
asking.
okay, yeah, I don't think I'd ask that good. So can I just do a spoiler warning? Like, hey, if you didn't read it, skip ahead. Okay, so when you made her deity, I guess, deity born, how did you come up with that concept instead of having her just be a really strong like soul bearer, or like how Day can be a death walker, or how the others can hold a vessel, like hold a spirit. How did you try to balance that? Because in my mind, she was so strong, and if she was born of a goddess, like she should have been able to conquer everything in a sense. Was that better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of this question is answered in book two.
Uh,
Um, so I don't want to spoil anything. But we dive a lot more into her origins and what she really is and what it means and the parameters of what she can and can't do. And to prevent any spoilers, it takes time for her power to grow to the point where she it becomes that level. Does that make sense?
It does. Yes.
And I think you probably know, having read Vesselless, that her power is dark and it is not good per se. And so she's kind of on a timeline as far as she doesn't want, she's not like her mom, you know, like her mom had a really good healing power, and when she grew into that, it's different for Nazara. It's, you know, so I'll refrain from saying anything more to book 2, but I hope you know it will be answered, and it will dive a lot more deep in detail of that, where she fits with Day and in the world, and the, what is it, what's the word I'm looking for? Not the pecking order, but like where she falls in the power,
in the hierarchy.
In the hierarchy, yes.
In the arocracy.
I'm sorry. I know I left a lot of questions about her origins in book 1, but I think it's mainly because there's so much to it. It almost takes a whole nother book.
Yes. There were so many questions, like Torella, and I just there was so much. There's so much. You're a genius. When you talk to your fans and or you get feedback, is there anything that people have said or any interpretations that have like stuck with you and you're like, oh my gosh, wait, yeah, that really flows, or you're like, how did you figure that out? Anything like that?
Anything that someone has said that surprised me, that they
or like any interpretations that they've had while they're reading?
A lot of them have to do with the indie version, because I got a lot more like personalized responses and feedback back in the indie version, and I'm not sure if some of these small plot lines are in the traditional version. Like a lot was edited and moved around, but one reader was talking about Reb at the brothel, and is the leader, and she was like, if Dagon looks so much like him, and Dagon had like I can't remember if it's in the trad version, but it mentioned like his great grandfather was kind of like a hard ruler and stuff. And this reader was like, is it a possibility that he's related to Reb? Like Reb is like some fallen off the tree, like illegitimate person that is in his family line. And it's like, I never thought about that, but
wait, actually, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And
because oh, sorry, go ahead. I got so excited. I'm like, no, go ahead, finish your thought.
So that was one of the more like moments where I'm like, I never considered that, because like as I was writing and like researching writing and all that, I remember, I'm pretty sure it was on writing excuses. I'm trying to remember her name that is on writing excuses, but she said that it can be a coincidence that gets you into trouble, and that makes for good plot lines and storylines. It can't be a coincidence that gets you out of trouble. You know, like that's kind of like an easy pass to get out of it. So when I was writing that, I was like, well, this kind of gets him into trouble and into deeper plot lines, that he happens to look like
Red.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, I could totally see that, because when you mentioned that, when he walks in and he startles Helena, and she said, wow, it's just that you sounded and looked so much like him. I mean, if they're that similar and he could pass and he has that whole person, yeah, I can totally see that.
Yeah. So I mean, who knows? Maybe there will be a line down the road that ties it back to something like that. But I was like, that's very insightful and very, very thoughtful of the reader to think that deep into the plot lines. Yeah. But I am a pantser, so like I build the plot lines as I'm writing them, and so yeah,
you just let the creativity flow. Oh, question. Yeah. Was it intentional when, okay, so you know how Nazara is so clever, and Day was telling her, be careful, be vigilant, be aware of your surroundings, and they're in the club, and he like brings her in, and she drinks the juice, and everything that follows after that. Was it intentional for her to be so naive to set her up for that, or was that like just
That was no. I it was an oversight on Dagon's part, and that will again come to play a little bit in book
okay?
2 and the reflection of that. Um and
Screamed. I screamed. I was like, "No, girl! How dare you? Are you? Why would you
no, that was
do that?"
I was hoping that I got across that she was just so flustered about the
Alina and
feelings she
him.
was feeling at that time that she wasn't paying attention. And no, Day was just saying that because he knows the type of men that work at this place. And yeah.
I let it pass internally, like in my emotions. I was like, you know what? She's just letting her jealousy and her confusion and all the overwhelming stuff that was going on, and the jealousy with Day walking away with Helena went over, and that was just her being having a girl moment, having letting her emotions win. I gave
Yeah,
her a pass. I gave her a pass.
feeling I was like I need this plot point to happen.
Yeah. When you were working on the pacing, for the book, there was a lot of fasts and a lot of slows, and then a lot of like, oh my god, this is so sweet. Um, how did you find your rhythm? How did you figure that out?
It was like I said, writing Vesselless was like the second book I've ever even attempted at writing. And so as I was writing it, everything felt really new to me. And I've like there was a lot of points where they call it like the saddle, like the beginning is usually a lot happening and you know what's going to happen in the end, but it's like what is going to happen in between to connect the points and give you the meat of the book. And I
Mhm.
found myself struggling a little bit to try and fill those spots. And it's just me navigating this new career and trying and seeing how it worked and what I felt like fit. Um, so yeah, I hope that
No, it
answers.
did. It did. It answered my question because I
It's
was
a lot
thinking,
of
okay,
yeah, like this is feeling slow. This is feeling like it's not going anywhere. So I would scratch it and then and start again. So
so I was asking that because I thought it was so well done, and with you mentioning how well I knew, and you mentioning that you had started out as an indie and just balancing everything, learning this new career that you were jumping into, and the challenges of writing, figuring out your creativity and like making it work, and just besides actually producing the product that you were proud of and that well, I mean, I assume everyone's loving it because, it just all seems so amazing. What has been the hardest part for you from going indie to trad?
I don't know if it's necessarily going from indie to trad, but the hardest part of both. And I think this is what I've found as far as like book 2 is um believing in yourself. Like I honestly believe that so much writer's block and so much problems that the writers face as far as when it comes to like plotting books or writing books or because it's a long-term investment. It takes a long time to sit down and
Mhm.
write it, and then even longer to get it to edited to the level that it needs to be a book.
Right.
Honestly think the hardest part is believing in yourself and trusting the process. And um and that goes for everything. That goes for social media, that goes for the first draft, that goes for everything. And that was a huge lesson I really had to learn with writing book 2, because like I told you, writing book 1 was for fun. There was no stakes involved. There was no one reviewing it. There was no one tagging me, or like it was just me and my computer on the couch at 4 a.m. But when being from trad in or indie to trad and moving it to publication and writing book 2, all of it can stem back to the hardest part was me believing in myself and me being a confident in me as a writer, because it was hard. I'm not a naturally confident person, and I'm not a naturally like self-believer. Like I am notorious for like talking down to myself in my thoughts all the time. And so that was the biggest battle I've had to face this entire journey, is like I have to be my number one believer and supporter. Otherwise, I can't do it. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm really proud of you for not giving up on yourself and believing in yourself and making it come true, especially with you being a mom and being able to balance being a mom, normal life, and then the grueling investment of putting your book out there. And then social media can be so draining, and finding that balance and not losing yourself. I commend you because it's a lot. It's very, very, very challenging. Just
Yeah, it
well
is.
done.
Well, and like I said, it's a long-term investment. And when I began this, like I am a mom and I have, like real life responsibilities in my like normal day. And so in order to write and chase this career and do this, I had to wake up at 4 a.m. and write. That was my only time because I was in full-time school. So like the nights were for getting or finishing my degree, and literally 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. was the only slot available. And it's like you have to really get delusional about yourself, or like, like either really believe that you're going somewhere or be really delusional to wake up and repeatedly every single day and do that, especially because you just start burning the candle at both ends, and it can be a lot, and you have to just keep going and believe that you have this drive to write for a reason. And so yeah.
I'm going to switch the word delusional and say motivated and empowered,
And
because
there you
that's literally what it was. Like, holy heck, I didn't even realize that you were going to school as well. Like, gosh. Wow. You're a badass.
Thank you. I mostly felt delusional, but also motivated and empowered. We'll take your words too.
Yes. What do you want, or what do you hope that readers are going to sit with after they finish the final page, and then like want them to take away, and not like leading into book 2, but just what do you want them to have?
I think I've had some people, and I know this book and the themes in this book are not speaking to everyone. Um, but like I grew up in like a broken home, and there was themes that like loving someone unconditionally doesn't mean that they are a perfect person, and it doesn't mean that you don't have anger or pain, or you're still living this cycle because that's how they are. And it mainly I wrote this book for those people that have those pasts, that have had those people in their lives that they love, and they know that those people are trying to do the best that they can with what they have. um and that there's, no matter how dark your life can be, because there's been some really dark moments in my life, there is always hope in the darkness. There's always a way to find a star or a bright like spot if
Yes.
only you look for it. And I think that is what I wanted people to take away from book 1.
Yes. I was gonna say, in a moment of vulnerability, I completely understand. And I did take that because you can have people that you love, and they might love you, but they might not love you in the right way or in the way that you deserve. And so knowing to be able to differentiate that or be able to recognize that maybe that's not what you need or that's not what you deserve, and being able to love yourself enough to say no or walk away, and overcome, um, definitely showed up, and was strong. And yeah, I don't want to get emotional because yeah, I completely understand and I completely relate, and I thank you for sharing that.
Well, thank you for reading it, and thank you for being one of the people that I was writing to. I've had actually at my book release party is I can always tell like who shares similar backstories is like me or like people that connect with this book. What She's so nice, and I love her, and she's like, I love your book and everything. She's like, I just don't understand why Nazara kept offering him grace and forgiveness, and to the point where she's like, I didn't understand it. And
Me either. See, clearly. I'm thinking about it and I'm thinking about what you just said and what you just shared. I didn't understand it either. Because she's so strong, she's so smart, and yet she couldn't walk away. She couldn't recognize, like, in the beginning, like, hey, this isn't good. And Dave's like, just end it. But yes, I'm rambling now. You got my emotions all in a twist. You wrote a beautiful novel, and I am so privileged and so excited to have the opportunity to speak with you and to share my thoughts, and for you to share your thoughts and everything that inspired you and where this all came from and how you made such a beautiful and emotional book come to life.
you're so sweet, and I'm, like I said, so honored to talk to you and honored that you took the time to read it. It means more than you know, and I appreciate you.
You did amazing. You really, really did. So you have a forever fan in me. I ramble, but I feel like just it really got me. So yeah, I'm a mess. I'm usually a lot more put together.
Oh, you're good. If it makes you feel any better, I got emotional in scenes when I was writing too. When Nazara's mom visits on the mat or the duel ring, I cried as I wrote that because it was more than just that scene.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And so don't feel bad for getting emotional.
I'm mortified. People are like, this girl is such a sap. But it is, I mean, it is, I wear my heart on my sleeve. I don't mind showing emotions. And I feel like that lets people know, like, it's okay to feel. Because I feel like a lot of people, especially now, feel like they have to be more stoic, or they have to um not let people get to them, or not let people know that they have a soft spot. Um, but yeah. Thank you so much. I'm not going to keep you because I know that your husband's waiting for you and you're going to go be with your family. But I hope you have the best holiday, and you just gave me the best present by talking with me. So truly, 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 with my whole heart, thank you so much.
Thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday. And you made my day brighter, so thank you.
Oh, thank you.